Okay, so I've popped the bonnet from the inside just to lift it up. There's a little catch just there, that goes up. And then there's a steady there. Okay, so we're a little bit cobwebby. Needs a bit of attention in there, but this is what's coming out. So this is the 998 that's in here. Basically the job that we've got to do is get most of this out. So I'm hoping things like the alternator just here, the starter motor which is just down there, distributor which is there, can all stay on the engine, and we'll do a swap when both engines are out the car. I think to get it out, for safety's sake, I'm going to remove the radiator and get that well out the way. I don't want to do any damage to that. Looks like my current water pump is leaking slightly, so good job we've got a nice new one. Thermostat housing here. We don't have a new thermostat housing, so I might be reusing that, but I think I might buy a new one of those. Looking at that, they're about £10 to replace. Round here we've got our single SU carburettor, which I'm going to be reusing on the 1275. Obviously a little air filter behind it. Carburettor itself and throttle mechanism all here. So we will remove everything from the manifold. I won't touch anything at the minute, that's really hot because we've just been driving it. So all the manifold will need to come off before we can start to get the engine out. I think I'll unplumb pretty much everything except these ones that go through the bulkhead down into the heater matrix, but I'll assess that as we go. This side, a little bit less to do. We've got the brake servo here. I'm hoping that's not going to get in the way, but if so, we'll have to get that out the way. Just looking at the engines, they are slightly different. So this is the main engine steady. That looks pretty old and scaly back there, so I might well replace that, but we'll certainly replace the rubber bushes in that to make sure that's nice and stable. Engine mount wise, I can't really see brilliantly from here, but actually from what I can see, it's pretty difficult filming it unless you know where you're looking, but down there is a sort of a bolt, and that's part of the engine mount. That side, this side, they're right down there. Hopefully we can reuse the same engine mounts, which would be good. One difference that I have noticed straight away while looking at these, if we look here, this is all nice and solid because I've got what's known on this one as an inline heater control. So this control interrupts the flow of water to go down to the heater matrix, and quite frankly it doesn't work. It's absolutely useless. If I come over to the 1275 now, that's our thermostat housing. We'll go back and have another look at that, but I think it looked pretty crusty. But if I look here on the 1275, there's actually a hole. That's where the heater is going to come out, so I'm going to have to buy a new heater control arm. So I'll get that on order. I think they're about £15 to replace. That's my thermostat just there. Might as well replace that while we're doing it. They're less than a £5, so we'll get that done. Everything else so far looks quite good. This is obviously where the exhaust manifold bolts on. Got our little fuel pump just there. So everything else looks pretty good. Let's go back over to the 998 and just have a look at the... So this is where our thermostat is. As you can see, that looks like it's in pretty poor condition. So I think what I will do is buy a new thermostat housing for it as well. I think they're about £10. Mechanical fan, which works off the alternator belt and pulley beneath. That all looks okay. This car has got an auxiliary fan in there at the moment. Doesn't work, so we're going to have to be working out why that doesn't work while we're doing this. Let's get that one working. Outside of that, HT leads and stuff like that, these aren't actually, although it suggests otherwise by looking at them, but they aren't that old. I'll buy new plugs to go into the new one to give it the best possible chance. But I think it's going to be now starting to get this out. So for access reasons, first thing I'm going to do is take the grill off, which is just some 4 screws just there, and that grill will come straight off. I'm going to leave the bonnet on for now just because I'm working on it out on the road, and I would just like to have that little bit of security with the bonnet on, but we'll take that off when we remove the engine. Other jobs we're going to do, as you can see, I've done some rewiring on this in the past, but that's never been secured. So while we've got the engine out, I'm going to do all this, secure all of these, and just double check all the wiring in there is working nicely and working well. So there we go, that's the job, that's what we're going to be doing. Hopefully we can get it done within the next week or so. Right, I will crack on with some bits now, and I'll bring you back in later on.